Hi, I'm Nico with Fingerprint Audio. Today I'm really excited. I'm really happy to walk you through our latest virtual instrument. It's called Soul, and it is aimed at the modern media composer. Before we dive in and I explain everything there is to know about Soul, I will show you the trailer so that you get an idea of what it can do. The whole soundtrack for this trailer was made with Soul, and no other instruments were used. Pretty good, right? Soul is a library made for the full version of Contact, and you will need 5.8.1 at the minimum. Installed, Soul takes 810 megabytes of space on your drive. There are 70 instruments spread across 13 categories. On top of that, there are many mix-ready curated presets. We all have deadlines, and we wanted to give you something that you can use straight out of the box for these times when you are working under a crunch. Soul is available today at a special introductory price of $99 and will later be sold at $129. Right, so now let's explore Soul and let's see everything that it can do for you. We've sorted the different instruments inside folders. You can see them here on the left. They range from acoustic to synth. And of course you have the hits and the downers and the sub-hits. We have some Shepard tones and the signature sounds. We will go through them. But let's first start with the acoustic folder. In it, you have cymbals, a celesta, a glossophone, a guitar, a piano, and some war drums. To show you the interface, let's first load the piano. It's one of my favorite patches inside of the library. It's a very nice felt piano that was sampled. The first thing that you will notice is that Soul is using the photosynthesis framework. So if you are using other libraries that are using this Contact framework, you will feel right at home. But we've added a twist to it. If you look at the tabs at the bottom, there is this one, that is the arpeggiator. This is something that we've added because we thought that an arpeggiator with the tonal patches that you can find in Soul would help you work faster. Okay? So here we have this arpeggiator with different modes and different rates. If you want to work in 1/28 or 1/8 triplets, whatever, you can add some swing to it. And everything that you would expect to have inside an arpeggiator. So you can choose the note order, if you zigzag up or down, random, and so on and so forth. The other tabs are the one found in photosynthesis. If you don't know them, we have the main engine, where you have access to the envelope, meaning the ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, and release. We have the filters, so you can directly add low pass, high pass filter, so on and so forth. And of course, you can automate everything. For example, if I right click on the cut here and I say learn MIDI CC and I move CC1, you see now my cut is reacting to my CC1 fader. Let's remove it and here we go. Okay, we also have an effect engine. We have some insert effects on it. So you have this lo-fi thing here. We have two kinds of distortion, the screamer and distortion. We have this jump capability and we have saturation. Saturation is something I use on nearly all the patches, but I will show you this in a minute. We also have some sound effects, and they are the expected ones, meaning we have a chorus, a delay, we have an algorithmic reverb, and we have a convolution reverb with different impulse responses. The rhythm engine, we have this step sequencer here for when you don't need the full power of an arpeggiator. And as you can see, we have different options here that you can automate. Lastly, we have the output engine, so the last processing that will be applied to your sound before it reaches your DAW. So you can influence the stereo width, you can tweak the transients. We have a full-blown transient shaper in here. We have a 4 bands EQ, and we also have a compressor. Right, so how does this sound? Let me first show you the piano. We call it the drowning piano. It's a really soft and atmospheric piano, and as I told you, I absolutely love the tone of this piano. This is how it sounds. See, it's really nice. And as I told you before, if I want to use some effects, let's take, for example, just a tiny bit of saturation to make it pop in the mix. If you look at the box here at the top, it will tell you the current value that you are using for an effect. So let's add some roughly 25% of saturation, and this is how this piano will now sound. See, it's taking more space and adds more weight in the mix. Let's check some of the other acoustic instruments. We have a Celesta. And again, the different panels, they are the same across all the instruments that you can find in Soul, except for the arpeggiator, which is only available for the tonal instruments. So this is the sound of the Celesta. As you can hear, there are already some effects that we thought we would enable out of the box. There is the delay and the algorithmic reverb. Listen and pay attention to the tail of the note. But if you want to create your own sound with it, you can very well turn them off, go into the insert effects, let's add a bit of distortion, a bit of saturation, and yeah, let's see how this sounds now. See, very, very tweakable. Now, let's check the glossophone. And let's move on to the guitar. The guitar is also one of these patches that I like a lot, and I've already been using it quite a lot on a few scores that I'm working on at the moment. This is how it sounds out of the box. And of course, using the built-in effects, we can again add a lot of distortion, a bit of saturation, and let's add this screamer thing on top, and let's boost the drive for it. And now we have a completely different tone for the guitar. Okay, let's move on. We have cymbals, very useful. And we have these war drums. And this, we did something a little bit different with them. You can see here at the bottom of my contact window, the piano. And all the notes that are on the left will be panned to the left side of your stereo output, and those on the right will be panned to the right side, and those in the middle will come from the middle. So listen. So right and left. And you know what? I will show you a bit the step sequencer. So let's, for example, go on 1/16, and let's do something like this. Rap, and here, and here, and maybe here. And now all I need to do is press one key. It's cool, right? So this is for the acoustic folder, and now we will move on to the next one. The next folder contains the Brahms, and the Brahms are a staple of trailer music and modern hybrid epic music. So let's Just start by listening to a few of these Brahms. So, you get the idea. They were tuned by default to the C note. But here, as you can see on the left, you can tune them differently. So let's move from a C to a E, for example, here. And you see that now the E is highlighted in red. So you don't need to tweak the tuning here in Contact. You can simply select which note and which tuning you want to use for the Brahms. Let's move on to the next folder. It contains the downers, the hits and whoosh hits, and the sub hits. So let's start first with the downers. We decided not to clutter the library with too many patches and too many samples. This library is curated. All the sounds, the selection of patches that you have are made to enable you to work fast with mix-ready, out-of-the-box, usable sounds. So this is why we don't have a gazillion downers, for example. We have some pretty standard ones. Usually they are at the bottom of the range, and some that are a little bit more processed as you move up the scale. Now, let's see the hits. They are in blue here at the bottom, and the whoosh hits are here in green. Let's just listen to a few of them. These are just great. And again, you can absolutely tweak and twist and mangle these sounds the way you want it. Okay, and last patch in this folder are the sub hits. Again, let's listen to a few of them. They are beautiful. All right, let's move on. Pings. What is a ping? Well, the ping is this thing that you most likely will hear in a trailer track, and this is how this sounds. We will not go through all of them. If you want to have an idea of how these work in context, just check our demo tracks on fingerprintaudio.com. Same as with the Brahms, here you can see that you can easily tune them. By default, again, they are set to C, but let's move to G or to F. See, very easy to do. Next one, pulses. Who doesn't love a good low pulse? So we have 8 low pulses, and again, you can tweak them as you want. You can see that in our rhythm engine here, we've created some for you out of the box, but nothing prevents you to see how they are built, what effects are used, and tweak that so you get to have your very own sound. So this is how these pulses sound like. One thing to note with the pulses is that they are tempo synced. So if you change from 120 BPM in your project and you go to, let's say, 80, the pulse will adapt to the tempo of your track. And because we have low pulse, we have high ones as well. We call them glitches. So again, let's listen to a few of them. And so on and so forth. Let's move on to the next category. And the next category is a bit special. We have, of course, risers and whooshes, but we've also decided to include Shepard tones. And if you don't know what a Shepard tone is, well, it's a sound using an acoustic illusion that will give the listener the impression that the sound is constantly rising, and it rises, it rises, it rises, and it never stops. So sometimes it's a good alternative to a riser because you can really set them to the length that you want, but it can also be a really, really cool trick to add tension to a scene, for example. And really pay attention to those, especially if you are new to Shepard tones. You will see that the sound is always the same, but yet you have the impression that it's rising to infinity. I love these. They are awesome, and they are a really, really easy trick to use. But we also have standard risers. They come in 3 flavors. They will rise on 2 bars, 4 bars here, and 8 bars. And they were recorded at 2 different BPMs, 80 and 120. So whatever the tempo of your track, they will always adapt and fit perfectly to the bar. By default, we've turned the release completely off, and we've also turned off the delay and the reverbs. So when the riser reaches the end, it will just cut. But that, of course, you can change. So let's listen to a few of the 2 bars once. So some really cool ones in there. And last patch of this folder will be the whooshes. And we have some classic ones, you know, just the whoosh ones, and some that are a little bit more processed. So here is how they sound. Right, let's move on to the next one. After we have this signature folder, the signature folders include 29 different signature sound. They are the sound from Gabin and Michael, the 2 guys who recorded and designed this library. They are somewhat the secret sauce, the sounds that they use in their compositions and in their scores. And they've decided to make them available to you. Obviously, we will not go through all of them, but I will make you listen to a few of them. I really like these tones. They are easily recognizable, but again, nothing prevents you to tweak them to oblivion. So let's listen to a few of them. Some really nice and creative effects in them. And as you could hear, there are also some nice bends. Next, this one is the most simple patch that you can think of. It's simply a sub bass. And this usually is something that we use to reinforce the bottom end of a track. I really like to use a sub bass on, let's say, a trailer track that is very heavy with double basses, but you know, the double basses, if you want to make them a bit more cinematic, to give them some weight, usually I will double them with a synth sub bass. So this is really, really simple. This is how it sounds. And a little trick that I can give you to make them a bit more prominent in the mix and to make them a bit more heavy is to just go to the effect engine and add some saturation to them. By default, we've already added saturation for you and it's set at around 40%. So it will make the sub bass really pop. And now let's take a look at the last category. We have some synths and they can be used for pads, for melody, for whatever you want. They are they are designed again by Michael and Gabin, and they are awesome. But before I load them, let me just show you something. As I told you at the beginning, we've created also some curated presets to enable you to work faster. But the curated presets will not be here inside the patches out of the box. You need to install them manually. And in order to do that, we've created this README guide. It's very, very easy to follow. You just need to copy the snapshot folder that you have inside your Soul folder installation. And on a Mac, you have to copy them to this location, and on a PC, on Windows, you need to copy them to this location. And I will show you what this does. Sorry. So for example, if I take the first one here, it's called Aeolus. You see here at the top of contact, you have this small camera icon. It's the snapshot. You can simply click on it, and here now at the bottom, you can choose a snapshot. So by default, you will have the initial preset. And for example, this is how Aeolus sounds like. Really nice. But now, because I've installed the snapshot, I can choose a different one. For example, there is this one that's called Harp and Delay. Let's see how this sounds. So you see, it's the same patch, it's the same synth, but this snapshot, what they will do is that they will already have different settings for the different effects that you can find in Soul. So for example, this one has some distortion added. There is no arpeggiator. Let me find one. If I take this harp and delay, there is some delay and reverb that is already set, and there is already an harp that is created on it. So let's listen to a few of them, and while I'm going through, I will also change the different snapshots. So you see these echoes of man synth. If I take it out of the box, it was sounding like this. And as soon as I set it to one of our presets, this one's called Broken Signal, you get to have a completely different tone. So let's listen to a few more. All right, lots and lots of things that you can do with this synth. So we really tried to strike the right balance between tweakability and speed of work, really. So it's a very fine balance between working with the sounds that you have in your head and that you want to translate using a virtual instrument, and sounds that already exist, that are already ready for working and that will inspire you. Right. With that said, I will now let you explore soul on your own. You can check out some demo tracks on our website, and we will also have some scoring videos coming soon to show you how soul can work in context. On behalf of Fingerprint Audio, I want to thank you for watching this walkthrough video, and we are really looking forward to hear what you will make with soul.